Rafiq lived in a small, peaceful village. The village had green fields, tall trees, and quiet roads. Birds sang in the morning, and children played in the open fields. Life was slow, but it was beautiful. Rafiq loved his village. But he had big dreams. He lived with his parents and younger sister in a tin-roofed house. His father was a farmer. Every day, his father went to the field with a shovel on his shoulder. His mother worked hard too. She cooked, cleaned, and cared for the family. Even though they didn't have much money, their hearts were full of love. Rafiq studied in the village school. It was a small building, but it was full of joy. The benches were old. Some even broken. But the teachers were kind, and they taught with care. Rafiq was a good student. He listened carefully, studied hard, and helped others. He always sat in the front row. He loved to read books under the big banyan tree near the school. Sometimes, he would close his eyes and imagine big cities. Tall buildings, buses, trains, and lights everywhere. He often dreamed of working in a big company, maybe in an office with air conditioning and a laptop. Rafiq, dreams are for those who work hard, his teacher once told him. That line stayed in his heart. But dreaming was not enough. His village had no college, so after finishing school, he had to go to the nearby town for higher studies. It was far away. He had to ride a bicycle for 10 kilometers every day. Through dusty roads and muddy fields. But Rafiq never gave up. Every morning, he woke up before the sun. His mother gave him a small tiffin, usually rice and lentils or a boiled egg with bread. He smiled, said goodbye, and started his journey. The road was not easy, but his dreams were stronger than the pain in his legs. At college, things were very different. Most students were from towns or cities. They wore modern clothes, used smartphones, and spoke English fluently. Rafiq felt shy. A little lost. His English was weak. He made many grammar mistakes and spoke slowly. At first, some students laughed at him. That hurt. He went home and cried quietly. But the next day, he got up and said to himself, "No matter what, I will not stop." He started reading English storybooks. He listened to English news on the radio. He watched English movies with subtitles. Little by little, he improved. His teacher in college noticed his effort. One day, she called him and said, "Rafiq, you have great potential. Keep going." Those words gave him strength. Years passed. Rafiq finished college. He applied for jobs online. After many tries, one day, he got a call for an interview in Dhaka, the capital city. It was a dream come true. But also, it was scary. He had never been to Dhaka before. The city was loud, fast, and full of strangers. With shaking hands, he packed his small bag, hugged his mother, and looked at the road ahead. His journey, from the quiet village to the busy interview room, had just begun. Rafiq sat by the window of the bus. It was early morning. The sky was still dark. The bus was full of people, bags, and noise. But Rafiq's mind was quiet. Full of thoughts. He looked out at the trees passing by. The green fields slowly disappeared. The village roads turned into wide highways. The further the bus went, the faster Rafiq's heart beat. This was his first time leaving home alone. In his small bag, he had only a few clothes, his resume, a comb, and a notebook where he had written some common interview questions and answers. He also had a photo of his family, just in case he felt lonely. After 6 long hours, the bus reached Dhaka. The noise hit him first: horns, shouting, footsteps, engines. Everything all at once. Rafiq stood still for a moment near the bus station. People walked past him in a hurry. Nobody looked at him. Nobody smiled. It felt like he had stepped into another world. "Don't be scared," he whispered to himself. "You came this far. Don't stop now." He asked a traffic police officer how to get to the interview address. The officer spoke fast, in city-style Bengali, and pointed in a direction. Rafiq nodded and walked, even though he didn't understand everything. He finally reached the building. It was tall. So tall that the top almost touched the clouds. He had never seen a lift before. He hesitated for a second, then stepped inside. As the lift moved up, he felt his ears pop. "Floor 12, the voice in the lift said. Rafiq stepped out. The office was clean, quiet, and cold, because of the air conditioning. People were typing fast on computers. Phones rang softly. Everyone looked serious and professional. A kind receptionist asked for his name and told him to wait. He sat in a chair near the corner, his hands shaking. He tried to calm himself. But he kept thinking, what if they ask hard questions? What if I don't understand? What if I forget my English? He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and remembered the banyan tree near his village school. He imagined the cool shade, the birds, and the sound of leaves. Then he remembered his teacher's words, "Dreams are for those who work hard." Just then, a voice called his name. "Mr. Rafiq? Please come in." He stood up slowly, adjusted his shirt, and walked into the interview room. Inside, there were 3 people sitting at a long table. One of them smiled and said, "Welcome, Rafiq. Please have a seat." He sat down, looked at them, and said softly, "Thank you, sir. I am happy to be here." His voice was calm. His journey had brought him here. Now, it was time to show them who he really was. Rafiq sat straight in the chair. His hands were on his lap. His back was stiff, and his heart was beating fast. The interview room was quiet. Too quiet. 3 people were looking at him. One of them was a man with glasses. He smiled and said, "So, Rafiq, tell us about yourself." Rafiq took a small breath and began, slowly and clearly. "My name is Rafiq. I come from a small village. I have completed my graduation in business studies. I am hardworking, honest, and eager to learn new things." There was a short pause. One of the interviewers nodded. Another wrote something down. "Why do you want to work in our company?" the second interviewer asked. Rafiq thought for a moment. Then he replied, "Sir, I read about your company on the internet. I like how your team works together. I want to grow my skills and be a part of your success." His voice shook a little, but his words were clear. He was trying his best. The man with glasses asked, "You come from a village. How will you manage city life and office pressure?" This question hit Rafiq hard. He smiled gently and said, "Sir, I may come from a village, but I know how to work hard. I traveled 10 kilometers every day for college. I studied English on my own. I believe If a person is serious, he can learn anything. The interviewers looked at each other and smiled. Impressive, one of them said. Next came a few more questions. Some were about teamwork, some about computer skills, and some were in English. Rafiq answered all of them. Not perfectly, but with honesty. At one point, the woman on the panel asked, "What will you do if you don't get this job?" Rafiq paused, looked at her, and said with a soft voice, "Then I will try again. And again. Until I succeed. I have come this far. I will not stop now." There was silence in the room. Then, the man with glasses smiled warmly. "Thank you, Rafiq. That will be all. We'll contact you soon." Rafiq stood up, bowed slightly, and said, "Thank you, sir. Madam. For your time." He left the room. As he walked back to the reception, his hands were still shaking, but now, they were shaking with hope. Outside the building, the city was still busy. The noise was still loud. But Rafiq felt calm. He didn't know if he got the job. But he knew one thing for sure. He had faced his fear. He had spoken in English. He had told his story. And he had done it with courage. He took out his phone and called his mother. "Ma. I did it.